Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining Eureka Springs channel. I'm Melody Purdy, your host, coming to you live from Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And today we are reaching out to the current city council candidates who are running for office this coming fall. And we are meeting with most all of the ones that are coming in opposed. And today we are bringing in Mr. Mike Seals and bring Mike inside. Hi, Mike.
Hello, how are you doing, Melody? Good to see you today.
It's good to see you. And I just want to, first of all, I just met earlier today with Miss Melissa Green, who is also running for council, coming in. She's already served, but is running again for office. Who is your opponent, Mike?
Melissa Green actually is my opponent. So I'm
Okay.
I'm Ward 2, position 1. So Melissa and I are in the same area. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I told Melissa, I'll tell you as well. We appreciate anyone who is willing to serve in the public sector. It is certainly not an easy task, but we are always grateful for those who are willing to give of their time. So thank you for being willing to step up.
Yeah, I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I know Melissa well and have known her for since I moved here, 7 years ago, and she's got a great history of service to the community. And like I've shared on my Facebook page, whoever wins the election is going to have my full support and backing.
Very good.
Because I'm in agreement with you. Anybody that's willing to serve, that loves our community, I'm all behind. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get right to it, Mike. We've got folks that are tuning in, so I see some people coming in. Thank you guys for joining us. If you do have a question for Mike, you can place your question in the comments, and I'll try to get to you. We did have some questions that were submitted prior to our broadcast by our viewers, and so I'm going to go right to those, Mike, and give you the opportunity to answer them. Mike has not heard these questions prior to this broadcast, so we're going to go right to these questions, Mike, and take your time to answer them if you want.
Okay.
We're going to go to our first question, Mike. We have a first question is, what city ordinances do you feel that are outdated and perhaps need to be revised? Anything stick out in particular for you?
Well, that's a good question that I don't really have an answer to right now. This would be my first time of service on city council. Most of my experience thus far has been as a resident of the downtown area, and then also serving in the Chamber of Commerce for the past 3 years, currently as the chairman and interim president. And so I don't know that at the moment, I don't know that I have any specific ordinances that I can make a recommendation on changing. I think my position would be to be highly engaged, to listen to the community, to evaluate things that are currently in place and see if there are opportunities to improve those. But I don't really have any specific ones that I would change at this point.
Okay. And on that same, in your response there, what is your plan to help people engage with you? Do you have a certain process that you're going to do there?
I think I guess the best way that I can describe it is in my role with the Chamber of Commerce for the past 3 years. My approach is to get out and meet the people where they are, in their businesses, at their home, through the various social media channels that we have access to. Be involved in different city-led organizations and meetings that take place where people have the opportunity to voice their opinions and share their ideas for the future. And then come up with ideas for improvements for the operation of the city council and the city, as a result of engagement with the people that are involved. So that would be I have a lot of ideas when I get engaged and involved in something, but most of those ideas come from listening to people who've been living and working and operating for many, many years. So I think I'm a good listener, and as a result, maybe can come up with some ideas to maybe make things better after hearing people's input.
Okay. All right. And our next question is, some people believe that we have an affordable housing issue in Eureka Springs. What would you do as a city councilman to help address that issue?
Yeah, I think we do have a problem with affordable housing. I love what the Bells have done with the Echo place there on Passion Play. That's to me, that's a model, and that's an example of enabling an organization to help address that problem in a creative way. And so I would like to see other nonprofit organizations, the Chamber of Commerce, other business operations in town work together to assess the needs that we have going forward for affordable housing and come up with a plan that takes into account protecting the integrity and the history and the uniqueness of our town, but at the same time addressing the very Chamber of Commerce that's happening right now is we're getting flooded with relocation calls.
Okay.
We're in the process of putting out a new relocation guide that should be out next month. We as a community, not only within the city limits, but outside of the city limits, we are going to have to realize that growth is coming, and we can either work together to plan for it and meet the needs that are coming, or we can stick our head in the sand and not want to deal with it,
Okay.
And so my approach would be let's inspire things like Echo for the future.
Okay.
Let's help people do some more of the same types of things within their organizations and entities. Yeah.
Okay. That sort of brings me to the next question that was asked. It said, in regards to economic development, what can a city council do to support growth in regards to property taxes, sales taxes, business regulations, and fees?
Yeah. I would say, I think, Eureka Springs, I'm a businessman and I operate a business in the town, and that's my background. And I think that that's probably one of the things that I bring to, obviously, the Chamber of Commerce, but would also bring to City Council is an understanding of the business person's side of things. And every business person wants a city and a downtown area that's supportive of their business from all different aspects. But I also am a resident of downtown, and I live across the street from the Palace Hotel and Bath House, and I have for the past 4 years. So I also understand that you don't want city council that's just pro-business. You want city council that's pro-business, but also pro-resident and pro-community. And so how do you balance those things? I think it's through, we've got so many amazing people in this town with amazing experience. I think it's a matter of just getting together and continuing to work together and dialogue together with how do we make this a more attractive place for the right kinds of businesses to locate here and be successful, while at the same time protecting the integrity and the history and the residential community aspect of our city. And I think everything can be on the table. Take a look at everything and decide where changes need to be made or where things need to be left the same.
Okay. Okay. Also, there was another question that talked about, you know, what can the city council do in regards to, first of all, ensuring financial stability and for the growth of the town if we are growing, and also as far as transparency. What is that? How does the council help ensure that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say you know, being sensitive to the needs of businesses, being sensitive to the needs of the tourists that really support our community, listening to them, making decisions at a city council level that take those businesses and the tourists into account in every way and aspect. That's going to drive revenue for the city. That's going to drive taxes for the city. That's going to drive, and has in the past driven, the financial stability and well-being of the city. I believe that strategic diversification of our economy in the Eureka Springs area is also an important aspect of the future and the financial well-being of our community. Like I shared with you, we've got a lot of people relocating to our area as a result of the pandemic. And they're coming from all over. And in some cases, they're just going to want to live here and maybe work out of their house. Their job maybe allows them to do that now. Others are interested in moving to our area and opening up a business or buying a business. And so we as a city, and not only the city, but also the county, we need to be thinking ahead of time about how we're going to attract the right kinds of business diversification to our area, and be, we all love what's unique about this town. We don't want it to turn into the corridor that's an hour away. We want to maintain the uniqueness of our community, but at the same time, we are going to grow, and we do need to diversify, and we need to be thoughtful, and we need to create some incentives for the right types of diversification. That would be some thoughts.
Another question was given to us in regards to, I know in these times, a question is always asked of any candidate, what political party do you mostly align yourself with?
Yeah, I really don't. I'm an independent person, and I align myself independently politically, to be honest with you. I'm a patriot, okay? I love my country. And I was raised that way, and I've always been that way. I think we have an amazing country. I think we have changed a lot over the history of our nation. I think we need to continue to change to make it a better place to live, to make it a better society. But to be honest with you, I've been really frustrated with politics, and I've been frustrated with both parties. And I feel like we've become, as a nation, way too politically divided. And I think that we have to find common ground, which is there, unquestionably there. We have to find common ground and work together on the common issues that we all care about, which is a healthy community to live in, good schools, a good work environment, a place where people of all races and all genders and all backgrounds are welcomed and allowed to thrive individually. And so I've actually thought about starting a new party. Yeah. So I'm independent. I'm frustrated with politics as they currently exist. I would like for our community to be an example of what's possible when people put aside their political labels and work together towards making a community an amazing place to live and work. That's
Yes.
how I answer that question.
Okay. And, I know you work extensively right now with the Eureka Springs Chamber of Commerce. I know you've kind of had your, ears to the ground here. You've heard a lot of tourists come in. So in particular, how do you think that our city has handled the COVID-19 crisis? That's part one of the question. Part two is, how do you think our tourists have handled the COVID-19?
Yeah. I'm on the mayor's reopening task force that has been meeting for the past few months on a weekly basis. We've now gone to twice a month. And it's a number of different leaders in the community that get together every week and huddle up and talk about how do we as a city handle the crisis, what are the good things that are happening, what are the bad things that are happening, what changes do we need to make. And to be honest with you, I feel like Eureka Springs has done an amazing job handling this crisis. And I think the leadership of the town has done a great job handling this crisis. And I'm sure everybody would say, well, I haven't done everything perfect, but guess what? This is a new world that we live in right now. It's been an unprecedented crisis that our community and our state and our nation have faced. And I think Eureka Springs deserves credit for how it's been handled. I think that when it relates to the tourism industry, our tourists have been showing up pretty strong and heavy since Memorial Day. I think we all can say that we have probably had more people in town than we expected. And most businesses are saying that they actually have had a summer better than 2019. And those people come to town with their own expectations. From the Chamber of Commerce perspective, we talk to a whole bunch of them, and we basically communicate, here's what the mandates are, here's how the town is handling the COVID crisis, here's what the current data says, here's what the state restrictions that are in place. And the vast majority of tourists have been very understanding and very appreciative of the way that we as a city have handled the crisis. Very few people have just said, well, I'm not wearing a mask, or I'm not doing that, or I'm not doing this. We have had some people say, well, you know what, I think I'm going to put my visit off for another few months after we share details of what's going on and how things are handled. And we've said, fine, listen, you need to travel when you feel it's safe. But obviously a lot of people have felt like it's safe. And I think the results in the city are encouraging under very difficult circumstances.
Thank you, Mike. And so leave this, one of the final questions for you is,
okay.
Why should voters mark their ballots in support of you?
Oh,
the big why to wrap it all up, right?
All I can say is I'm willing to serve. And I was a tourist to Eureka Springs for 30 years before I chose to move here 7 years ago. So I've been a resident of the town now within the city limits the whole time for 7 years. And now I've lived for 4 years in downtown. and I've operated businesses within the city limits, and I've served on the Chamber of Commerce for the past 3 years. And so I think I do have experience that could be valuable to the city and to the city council moving forward. And one day I was having a conversation with Mayor Barry, and I ran for mayor 2 years ago and came in third place. In fact, I was telling somebody in this election, I'm guaranteed to improve from my third place finish as mayor, because I'm going to at least come in second place as city council, because there's only 2 of us in the race. So I was talking to Mayor Barry, and he just basically said, Mike, you know what? He said, if you want to serve in the future leadership of the community, he said, you got the tourism side of things down. You've done that for a long time. You've got the business community side of things down because you've volunteered and served at the Chamber of Commerce, and you've operated a business in town now. He said, but if you really want to be a well-rounded servant leader in the future, it would benefit you and the community for you to serve on city council. And so I said, well, I hadn't really, at the time that he mentioned it to me, I said, I really hadn't thought about that, but I am willing to serve. And so I guess that's what I'd say. I'm willing to serve. I think I'd love the opportunity to be a part of the team to make our city better. And if people feel like I'm qualified to do so, I'm more than willing to serve.
Well, we commend you for stepping up and being willing to do that. It is not an easy decision to make, but most people who are really love our town at some point in time feel engaged enough to try to be a part of the change and be part of the support system. So we thank you for being willing to do that. If you're watching right now, if you are watching, we do have some people that are watching us live. If any of you do have a question, you can make a comment to ask your question to Mike if you'd like to. And also, after the video has been streamed live, if you want to ask Mike a question later on, and while you're watching this video, you can also place your comment and place your question in the comments, and I'll make sure that Mike sees it so that he can hopefully address your concerns or your questions. Mike, how do people get in touch with you if they'd like to have a private conversation with you?
Just contact me at the Chamber of Commerce office here in Eureka, and I'd be glad to. You can do that through the phone number, which I should have in front of me. We don't ever remember our own phone numbers anymore. Or you can send an email to president@eurekasprings.com.
President at Eureka Springs Chamber. Okay.
Yeah, or just call the chamber office and get a hold of me, or reach out to me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook.
There you go. Well, that's where everybody lives, right? We all live in Facebook, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We don't have a reality anymore. It's all right in here in this screen, right?
Yeah. Well, under the circumstances that we've been, it's been kind of nice to be able to keep up with people that you care about.
Yeah, I kind of kid with somebody the other. Yes. And thank God we have the technology for it. That's for sure. I kind of kidded myself the other day with folks as I gauge my progress by how many Zoom meetings I've had this week. So, anyway, we're all tired of it. But well, thanks, Mike. Again, if you are not watching live and you're watching this on replay, be sure and ask your questions to Mike. I'm sure he'll be happy to answer those questions for you. And again, Mike, thank you so much for doing this with us and placing yourself in the presence of all of us to be able to ask you questions. And thank you to all the people who submitted questions. We appreciate those. And thanks again.
Okay. Thank you, Melody. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. So thanks again to Mike, great guy. And so a lot of wonderful people who are stepping up to run for office. And so be sure you are informed, well informed. Don't forget to vote. That's the most important, most patriotic thing that you can do. And the best thing you can do to create change in our world is to vote. So thanks for watching Eureka Springs channel. If you'd like to support us, we do take donations for our channel. We consider doing pay-per-view, but with the current situation and so many different people that may not be able to access our videos, we've decided to just put out there, if you'd like to donate to help us keep these streaming activities live and free to Eureka Springs, we would appreciate your donation and supporting us. Thanks for joining Eureka Springs channel. We hope to see you again next time. Be sure to watch the post under our Eureka Springs channel for the upcoming candidates that will be also answering your questions. If you'd like to submit a question for the candidates we have scheduled for tomorrow and the next day, please submit them to me on a private message. Thanks a lot, and thanks for joining us.